Hey traders, welcome back to another video. In this video, we're going to talk about how you can make your own fair value gaps indicator in Pinescript. So first of all, let's understand the concept of fair value gaps. The fair value gaps are created when market gives a very impulsive move like in this candle, but it does not come back on the very next candle to fill that gap. So for example, here we can see that there is this small bearish candle and then there is this very big impulsive bullish candle. And the candle after this impulsive candle was only able to fill the gap till this level, this price level. So this one here is the bullish fair value gap. And similarly, there are bearish fair value gaps in which the market gives the downward impulsive move and then it does not fill the level or the gap that it creates. So let me just go ahead and find example for the bearish fair value gap. So here, let me just go ahead and check here. So here we can see that there is the formation of this bearish fair value gap, and we want to detect these fair value gaps by programming a Pinescript indicator. Before you proceed further, I have a very helpful resource for you to share. So what you need to do is you can go to your browser in Chrome and you can go ahead and type in forums.forexb, or you can just search on Google forexb forums, because on these forums we have dedicated a section for Pinescript developers. So you can go to this forum and sign up for a new account, and then here you'll be able to communicate and ask about any questions that you have in this section here, the Pinescript by Pine Wizards. And in this thread here, I'll also post the code of this video and all of the upcoming videos, and I'm actively participating in the forum, answering any queries you might have. So I would encourage you to join this forum and keep your learning up to date with the questions and all the latest knowledge that is coming out about Pinescript. Now let's get back to the video. So now let's go towards the coding, and I'm gonna go ahead and copy and paste the code and then explain it line by line, because it will be much more faster instead of just writing the code. So let's go ahead and paste the first part. That is, first of all, we're going to define the indicator, that is fair value gaps finder, and then we want the overlay to be true. That is, we want to plot this indicator over the chart. Then we're going to define the conditions to detect the fair value gaps. So as we have talked about, there are two types of fair value gap, the bullish and bearish. So a bearish fair value gap is formed when the candle 1 low is greater than the candle 3 high. So let me just go ahead and explain what this means. So here, let's first go ahead and find a scenario of bearish fair value gap. So here we can see that this bearish fair value gap is happening here, and in this we have 3 candles involved. So here we can see that this one here, this will be the first candle or candle 1, this will be the candle 2, and this is the candle 3. So what we want to find out is, it's a bearish fair value gap if the candle 1 low is greater than the candle 3 high, which is this candle here. So this gap between the candle 1 low and candle 3 high is actually the bearish fair value gap. Similarly, here we can see that the candle 1 high should be greater than the candle 3 low, as we can see in this case here. So candle 1 high should be less than the candle 3 low. So this gap here would be the bullish fair value gap. And at the end of this fair value gap detection function, we want to return the values of this bullish and bearish FVG in the form of the booleans. So these will return either true or false. Now let's go ahead and define the candle that were candle 1, candle 2, and candle 3. Initially, we only need the candle 1 and candle 3 highs and lows, because these are the ones that are involved in our calculation of the bullish and bearish fair value gaps. So here, the candle 1 high is the third last candle, and its high will be high of 2, and then candle 1 low would be low of 2. Similarly, candle 3 high would be the latest candle, so we're just going to assign it the high value, and candle 3 low would be the latest candle's low value. Now let's go ahead and call the function that we have defined. So since this function is returning us two values, that is tuple, so we're going to define a variable in the form of tuple so that we can store two outputs from this FVG detect function. So we're going to pass in the candle 1 high, candle 1 low, and similarly candle 3 high and candle 3 low, and it will evaluate based on these conditions and then return either the condition is true or false, and then it will be stored in this tuple variable. Now what we need to do is we need to plot these fair value gaps onto the chart. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and use the if statement to plot these onto the chart. Let me just delete the drawings. So here we are. If it is a bullish fair value gap, we want to plot a line and we want to give it the x1 value of the index of that candle. So bar index -2 would be the third candle, so we want to start from there, and then y1 would be the candle 1 high, that would be the candle. In case of bullish fair value gap, we want this to be the high of this one candle to be the first line, and then similarly we want the candle 3 low, that is this candle here. So let me just go ahead and go back a little bit so that it does not create any confusion. So here we can see that this candle is candle 1, candle 2, and candle 3. So first we want to plot the low, that would be the candle 1 high, and we want to start from there. Similarly, we want to start the candle 3 low, and we want to start from here, and this would be the candle 3 low. So we want to plot this line and this line, and then we want to extend it towards right using the extend right function. And then there are other parameters like x2 value, that will be the bar index or the latest candle, and then it can extend towards right in the forward direction. Similarly, we will plot the box using box.new function, and we will use the left, top, right, and bottom values of this area, that is candle 1 high, candle 3 low, and then bar index of this candle, and then bar index of latest candle, and then we will also extend the box, and then we'll close the box on this latest candle. So now similar is the case with the bearish fair value gaps. Let me just go ahead and find one so that we can evaluate it correctly. So let me just go ahead and calculate the market till here. So we'll move the market back, and here we can see that this line here is the candle 1 low, and this one here is the candle 3 high. So we want this line, in bearish fair value gap, this line is being represented by the candle 1 low, that is this line here, and then this line is representing the candle 3 high, that is this line here. So this area here is the fair value gap, the bearish fair value gap. So now let's go ahead and plot this indicator onto the chart and see what happens. So here we can see the bullish and bearish fair value gaps being plotted onto the chart. So here we can see that the low of this candle and the high of this candle, there is this gap, and it is called the bearish fair value gap. Similarly, if we take a look at the bullish fair value gaps, we can see that this one here is the bullish fair value gap, and similarly here is another bullish fair value gap forming onto the market. So this is how you can code a custom bullish and bearish fair value gap indicator. You can add a lot of confluences. This is just the foundational logic for detecting the fair value gaps, but you can extend it and add more confluences to make it work even better.